up, Axie fam? Let's talk about the most powerful cards in Origin. Alright, first off, Axie Kiss. Death Mark means it might do up to a lot more damage than just 60. So if we look at 60, we add our multiplier, we add our runes. Say we have the epic rune that gives us +6 to our damage, so we're doing 66. We have our multiplier, 66 times 1.15, pretty decent damage. But now, for the next 4 turns, we apply Death Mark. If Axie Kiss is the first card and our HP is below 50%, not to mention, we can target any enemy that's always on the card. You don't have to have the trigger to target any enemy. Very good. So we get to target an enemy, put the Death Mark on it, and then hit it for at least 30 bonus damage. Right? So this does 60 plus 30 if you use this first. You follow up with 2 cards, making the Death Mark, burn them for 15 twice. And then next round on your turn, you get to use 3 cards and burn them for another 45. 60 plus 6 times 1.15, 75 damage plus 30 on our own turn plus 45 on our next turn. So this does 150 damage. So very, very strong. Believer, this originally wasn't on my list, but if we look at the rage, 2 bonus damage. So if we get 3 rage stacks, which is the most we can get, we get 3 times 2, 6 bonus damage. For some cards, that's like 10% free damage. But that will keep going up until we get to about 9. So we can get a bonus 18 damage, 9 times 2, on all of our hits. All of our hits, not just our attack. So if we have a card that is like Feather Fan that hits for 4, so Feather Fan, 43 damage, 43 plus 18 times 4. Now your Feather Fan is hitting for 244. If we go and divide that by 2, because it costs 2 energy, 122 damage and energy. So Believer, while not good by itself, very good on the right Axie. Buzz. Now the reason why Buzz made the list is because Daze doesn't go out of their deck. It doesn't have ethereal, so it keeps shuffling in. So the longer the game goes, the more effective Daze is. Off the bat, we hit all Axies for 20, so it's doing 60 damage plus modifiers. So you're doing fairly good damage, but then putting that Daze in their deck. Say you have a triple Daze team, which would probably be brutal. Triple Daze, and you can also run Sleepless. Sleepless does about the same damage, but it's a single attack card, and also gives that Daze. So Bubble Maker, 70 shields is a lot, but you get the added benefit of getting basically 4 bonus damage on all your hits. So Bubble Maker, very, very solid. Cactus, one of the top tier cards. Cactus, you'll be using it for initial to get the bonus 15. So you're doing like 96, 105, somewhere in there. Taking the attacks off of your frontliner for a turn. Very, very useful. Carrot, this card might as well say, when you draw this card, you can discard it to do 40 random damage. Or this could say, whenever you play an attack card, you may discard this card to make that card do 40 bonus damage. That's what that might as well be. Very strong. Double Talk, putting your opponent's Axie to sleep can wreck them. That's worse than a Daze, because Daze is 1 card in their hand. Just that means like they're drawing 1 less card. But Double Talk means if they draw 5 cards on the Axie, guess what? They're playing 0 cards that turn. So this can be very brutal, very god tier. Same with Earwing. It's doing, say you have 5 cards in your hand. Say you have 6 because you also have Tiny Dino on your team. So you're doing 6 times 3 plus 20 plus runes times modifier to each Axie. So you're hitting for like 45 damage per Axie. 45 times 3, doing 135 damage for a single energy. Very, very god tier. Double Talk, S tier, very good damage. With runes and charms, this is hitting for like 96, but then you also pull the aggro off your frontliner so it can survive 1 or 2 more turns. Feather Fan, a lot of people sleep on Feather Fan. This card is very, very good. People don't really know how to utilize it yet. Once that becomes apparent that this is very good, we will see a lot more of this in the rankings. If you look at our calculator, it's doing 35 times 4, so it's doing 140 for 2, so divided by 2, so we're only doing 70 damage, but that's without runes and charms. So if we do 35 and then we add our charm, which the highest we can get is a bonus 3 damage, so it's doing 38. And then doing a multiplier 1.15 because it's going to be on a bird. with Pure Instinct, more than likely. Now we're doing 43, and we go and multiply that times 4, which is 174. Divide that by 2. 87, so pretty efficient, almost as efficient as Eggshell, but then you get the bonus modifier of getting the Feather. So it makes it to where your next attack will do damage to a random enemy based off that card's base stat. So the higher the base stat on the card, the more the Feather proc will deal. So most cards are going to be hitting for like 4 or 8 to a random enemy, right? So you can have 10 stacks on a bird and it trigger, and it only has to get triggered by using a single attack card or an area of effect card. We get the Feather procs, say we have 10 of them. If you're able to use a card that had a very high base attack, like Oranda, so its base is 110, now it's going to be doing a lot more for each of those Feather procs. Grandma's Fan, it's making your next cards after you play this hyper efficient in terms of damage for energy, making everything do a bonus 20%. 20% is a lot. Hair Dagger, sleeper of a card. This hasn't really found its niche yet, but once Hair Dagger finds its niche on a very skills only, and Hair Dagger being the only attack cards, it's going to be very, very brutal. Very hard to beat. The Flock of Birds team is very strong. People are sleeping on the Mini Legion, Triple Bird, Triple Mavis, Triple Hair Dagger. Or you can run 2 Hair Daggers and 1 Risky Feather. Very strong. Indian Star, I don't have to explain why this one's so good. Why it's so good is because next turn, after the target is attacked, reflect 50% of the shields lost, limit 1. What makes this so powerful is it can be combined with other cards to increase the shields, and this doesn't trigger once like other secrets. If they wanted to nerf this card, that's how they would do so. They would reduce the way this card functions by making it proc a lot more similar to Kingfisher. Kestrel, same thing as Double Talk. It can absolutely devastate your opponent's upcoming turn. Kingfisher, 85 damage, very, very efficient. Kataro, it also doesn't go away until it's procced, which makes it very strong. Kataro, just like Axie Kiss, Death Mark is insanely good. And because this is guaranteed to get the Death Mark, you don't have any other stipulations. We're going to be doing 50. And then the next turn, we're going to be doing whatever our card's base damage with runes and charms, plus additional 15. Very, very good. Very good against baby builds. They can hit that baby on the back line and make it to where you're burning its health down throughout the match. Kataro, this almost did not make the list. Kataro is like the poor man's version of Carrot Hammer. It just does the Carrot Hammer job way worse. It is very good in the Reflectile, Indian Star, Reflectile backliner. It's very good in that situation because oftentimes it's in like a 1v3 scenario. Leafy. Leafy is in God tier. It is one of the strongest cards out there, but it's really difficult to use. You pretty much have to build your entire team off this card for it to work. But when done right, Leafy can hit for as hard as 183 damage for a single energy. And yes, that math is correct. Little Peas, very good, makes your next cards very efficient. Nemo makes your use of cards that you draw very efficient. Oranda, this card is S tier because it falls in the category of a hoser. If this is on your team, it can completely hose cards with Leafy builds, Fury builds, like Endless Anger builds. Is hoses it, just gets rid of those. Puff makes your cards and your energy usage very efficient, so it is very good. Risky Fish, S tier, hitting for 100. Same thing with Ronin. You're hitting for 104, 116 in some cases. Shrimp, very, very good. Not quite God tier, but it can apply a taunt to itself and put the taunt on your opponent's backliner, so you're making sure you take down the most important Axie first. Swallow is very God tier. The fact that you can destroy 120 shields and it's not doing the damage, and it's doing the destruction of the shields before you apply the damage, this card is insane. Very, very good against the Reflectile builds, because you lose only 20 HP, you burn them for basically 75%, maybe even 100% of their shields, and then your basic attacks don't get any reflects. Very good. Last one. This card can hit like a missile. Absolute bomb. You're sometimes heading for 120 damage with this card. Same with Tiny Dino, both of these very S tier. Tiny Dino has some good synergies with tassels and earwing, so that makes this card a little bit stronger than people realize. And the last one on the list is Watering Can. 10% more efficient than most other shield cards, and it applies to all your allies. If they want to nerf this card, it would be real simple. They'd make the secret only apply to one card and not all your Axies. But this card is very good. This card does have a downside though. It is very weak to AoE. So you play Watering Can and then you get hit with 3 AoE moves, and that would force you to draw 9 cards. You're drawing 9 pure waters into your hand, which means at the beginning of your turn, you're not going to be able to draw all of your actual cards from your deck. So this card, S tier, but it does have quite the drawback. Did I miss one? Is there something on my list that I forgot? Something that is insanely powerful and I just overlooked it? If you don't believe me on the Leafy, leave a comment down below. I might make a video. Hit that like and subscribe button so you can get notifications when I post my next video. Good luck in your matches. Thanks for watching. Bye.